A biblical perspective on life, culture and current events. This is 2020 on Vision.
Let's get an update on developments at the Australian base of Answers in Genesis. We love the work they do, drawing attention to Genesis as history, and that affects our passion for God's purposes and the preaching of the gospel. Well, you might have been a participant in the nationwide initiative that began earlier this year for the distribution of the Gospel of Luke from the team at Answers in Genesis. Now, a grand plan is to have a Gospel of Luke delivered to every household in Australia. Now, this is happening through the Australian base of the outfit, of course, as you know, founded by Aussie Ken Ham, who's now one of the world's leading Christian apologists. And these days he's based in the US and founded the Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum in northern Kentucky. And rumour has it he's planning another tour of Australia in the new year with a lineup of amazing speakers. So let's get an update. Mike Foster is the Managing Director of Answers in Genesis in Australia. Mike is a frontline evangelist, apologist. He's a cultural watchman. And Mike's clear mission is to call Australia back to the Word of God without retreat or apology. Mike Foster, a special welcome back to 2020.
G'day, Neil. It's great to be here.
Hey, I am aware, Mike, just before we get into any of the, the previews and the great stuff around the gospel distribution, the Vision Tour to the US and visiting a whole lot of amazing sites, including the Ark Encounter. They dropped in on the Ark Encounter in Kentucky just last week. Ken Ham was there to greet the tour. They were pretty excited about that, and apparently it was Ken's birthday. Are you aware of anything that was going on?
Yes. Ken, I think, gave them the VIP tour. Answers in Genesis and Vision are very, very close. And I'm not allowed to tell you what birthday number it was. I've signed an NDA. But I did hear there was Happy Birthday sung at the Ark to Ken by the Vision tour, which is fantastic.
And some of our listeners will know too that Greg Newman, who is the Vision representative on the tour, he led the Australian entourage in singing Happy Birthday to Ken Ham, of course, to Greg's Flintstones wording. And anyone who's listened to the afternoon show on Vision, you know the Flintstones theme and Greg's words for Happy Birthday. Hey, good things happening with that tour. Looking forward to hearing all the good stories when they all come back. Hey, there's a special announcement that you want to make. I'm going to turn it over to you for a few moments because I did say rumour has it Ken might be back. What's the deal?
Absolutely. So it's my absolute pleasure to announce today that there will be a tour of Australia at the beginning of next year. It's based off the back of our sold out tour Living in Babylon that was last year. And I'm sure many of your listeners attended that because we sold out convention centres all across Australia, which was fantastic. But the sequel to that Living in Babylon tour, I can reveal to you, it is the Gospel Reset Tour, back to the beginning. And this is based off a ministry that Ken has been very passionate about, that in order to understand the good news in this post-Christian era, we need to tell people the bad news. And the bad news starts back in Genesis. And so the tour is basically going to help people to be equipped with the gospel. And on that, we've actually got some incredible tour guests. So, of course, we've got Ken Ham.
Yeah, well, this is important, isn't it? Because, these days, when Ken does a tour, he doesn't do it half-hearted. And when you said convention centres sold out last time when they did the Babylon tour, people were amazed. How did all of these thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people get to be in these gatherings? And so this time Ken has an entourage of fabulous speakers. Give us a little insight into who is travelling with him.
Yeah, so apart from Ken Ham, we have Easy from Living Waters, Ray Comfort's ministry, who has incredible testimony. He was in a gang, one of the Crips gang, the famous gang, and he came out of that, was beautifully set free, and he tours the country and the world sharing the gospel and part of Ray Comfort's team in Living Waters. But it's my absolute pleasure to announce that we've actually got a NASA astronaut joining us, Captain Barry Wilmore. Now, that name may ring a bell because he was the one that got stuck on the space station, and NASA just sort of left him there, and it took Elon Musk with SpaceX to come and rescue him. So he's recently been on 60 Minutes in Australia, and he's in high demand, and he has this powerful audio-visual presentation that sort of shakes the room. And Neil, as I was saying earlier, it's even better footage than the moon landing. So he's going to be incredible, Captain Barry Wilmore.
I mean, as I said, these days, Answers in Genesis doesn't do things half-heartedly, and I think there'll be listeners who are going to be thinking, how do I get one of these tickets? Because my suspicion is they will sell out quickly if they're a sell-out sort of a ticket in that space. So look forward to that. Now, you mentioned early in the new year. What sort of dates are we talking about here? Because I know there'll be some listeners thinking, oh, yeah, well, making a bit of a plan for 26 now. What's the dates?
Yes, have you got a pen? For Sydney, it's going to be Friday the 30th of January, a beautiful evening we've got prepared. Then Melbourne will be Saturday the 7th of February. Again, that's an evening event. In Brisbane, it's an all-day event, and it's on the 14th of February. And then we have a very special event on the Sunshine Coast that people will be travelling to. It's actually going to be a family conference, and there's going to be great engagement from Captain Barry Wilmore. So if you've got teenage boys or girls, that's going to be fantastic for them. We're focusing on Christian education, homeschooling, but also just general a family conference. How do you live as a Christian family in today's culture? So we're super excited about that one on Saturday, the 21st of February.
Mike, special honour to you because no doubt you're the one who's going to pull all the strings together here and make all this happen because you're at the helm of Answers in Genesis here in Australia. But wow, what a team, what a tour that is going to be. I think there'll be a lot of excitement from listeners and, writing down those sorts of dates. Sydney, Friday, 30th of January. It's a little bit like coming out of that hibernation that you go into January, with Christmas and New Year and you're back to work. All of a sudden, to be hit with the opportunity to go and see Ken Ham and Easy from Ray Comfort's Living Waters and certainly Captain Barry Wilmore, that is going to be an absolutely incredible tour. For listeners, write down those dates. Sydney, 30th of January, Melbourne, 7th of February, the all-day event in Brisbane, 14th of February, and Sunshine Coast, 21st of February. Just amazing. Hey, there's another big thing that you've got going on. Let's get an update here because lots of listeners will have participated in your gospel distribution project. Give us a little recount on what's happened so far and then what you've got planned in the times coming.
Well, thanks to Everyday Christians like your listeners, Neil. We have been able to deliver into letterboxes over 250,000 Gospels of Luke. And they're not just your run-of-the-mill Gospel of Luke. On the front of it, it's a beautiful image. It says the word truth, and the reaction people get when they receive these things, whether in the letterbox or if you hand them out to people, they treat it like as a beautiful gift. However, this year we are looking to do another 180,000 letterboxes before Christmas. And by the end of next year, we will have reached about 1 in 15 Australian households. And with about 3 people in every household, that means 1 in 5 people are going to have access to the gospel in their homes by the end of next year. So it's incredibly exciting, Neil, and it's all happening in the next few months. Okay,
let me just throw into the mix here. Clearly, with the distribution of the first round, 250,000 of those, you would have had people who are on your team from communities all over Australia. My suspicion is there's going to be a lot of communities that now need to have new representatives. So if there are people listening into our conversation now, no doubt you want to make contact with them because you're going to need some point people in new communities that haven't had this distribution happen yet because it's another big goal, 180,000 of these Gospels. So you'd like to connect with people in communities everywhere?
Yeah, so we had over 1,300 volunteers all across Australia last year, but we're going to need you again. And if you haven't done this, it's an incredible project because what we do is we send you the box of Gospels, we send you the map of the area around your area of the various houses, and then all you need to do is grab a friend, family, church, you could grab a youth group or a home group and just go walk around on a Sunday afternoon, putting them into letterboxes, and you're going to be impacting everyday Aussie lives.
You affectionately call this group of volunteers the Answers Army, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's not a constant call upon those people who are on the Answers Army. But when an initiative comes up like this, you give opportunity. It's a little bit like creating opportunity for people to do something that mobilises their capacity to reach out to their community. So to be a member of the Answers Army, I mean, it's like a recruitment program. Is there a training opportunity? How do people connect with you on that?
Yeah, well, look, we really need your support. We cannot do it without the volunteers. And so if that is something you're interested in, if you just go to answersingenesis.org and click on the Answers Army button, it says join us. Just click that, put your email in, and then you're going to get the communications and you'll get all the information you need to be able to be set up as a volunteer and be part of this, one of the biggest gospel projects, I've got to say, happening in Australia.
I suspect there are some who can say, I'll be a part of it, I can do a little. I guess there's an awful lot of people required to do a little, and there'll be some who'll be able to do a lot. Are there sort of area coordinators that you need to connect with here as well? Is there a little bit of there's a leadership role for people as well as those who are going to be directed into how they can actually maximise the opportunity here?
Yeah, absolutely. So Neil, once people sign up at answersingenesis.org and they're connected with us, people can do as little or as much as they want to do. And if people want to be even more involved, we sometimes have key representatives from churches who are like, hey, our church would like 30,000 and we're going to do this whole area. And that's fantastic because if we can get churches involved, home groups involved, just friendship groups involved, we're just going to be able to impact the country like never before.
Okay, is there a particular timing that you have in mind for this second round of distribution? Is this happening it's probably premature to say it's before Christmas, but I don't know. What are your dates? What's the timing?
Yeah, absolutely. So looking for a launch date around the 8th of November. Once people have their box of Gospels and the map, they can, do that at any time. But we will have like a launch time around November the 8th. So now's the perfect time to sign up and you're going to get all the different communications needed. We will be running a training night too, because I know, it's putting things in letterboxes, but some people have engaged in incredibly life-changing conversations, Neil. They've been at people's doors and had conversations. So you can feel free to do that, or you can put it just in the letterbox. But we're seeing families impacted both ways.
I wanted to ask you about the significance of having a Gospel of Luke in your hand, and you might be putting some of these into letterboxes, but you get an opportunity every now and then to personally pass on that Gospel of Luke. You might even have stories to tell about what happens when that eventuates. But when you are involved in this process, putting a gospel tract like a gospel like this, Gospel of Luke, into someone's hands, what do you think is happening spiritually? What do you think is happening in the life of the person who's giving it and the life of the person who's receiving it? Is there something here you can identify that might even be unseen? As an evangelist, I'm sure you're full of all sorts of great stories and such things, but how do you reflect on that, Mike, the power of passing on a Gospel of Luke?
What we've got to understand is it is the gospel that's the power of God for salvation of man. And some people think, well, will these really get to people if they're in the letterboxes? But I tell you, the word of God does not return void. The Bible tells us that. And do you know what else we know? We have a QR code on those Gospels. And when people scan those QR codes, they're going to a powerful Gospel presentation. They get the opportunity to email us or to sign up for the Word for Today through Vision. And we've had thousands of people connect with us through that way. And we have been recommended them to various churches. Some of them have become Christians. So we know just from that QR code that these are actually having a life-changing impact on the people that we're handing them out to.
You know, Vision has been very proud to be a part of this process. And as you say, when someone is handed a Gospel of Luke, a QR code that takes them to connect with Vision, the Word for Today, listeners who read the Word for Today will know that's an introduction to someone for the Bible, to the Gospel, and then for a process whereby they can have an ongoing insight into their daily walk, which we'll call discipleship, is actually, you know, completing the package. It's like giving it a well-rounded appeal. And just to work in partnership here, I think our team here are just really, really honoured and humbled to be a part of it, and certainly the encouragement for listeners to be a part of the whole process. So you've got the Gospel Reset Tour. We mentioned that. Ken Ham and a lineup of great speakers coming early in the new year. One of those to mention, Captain Barry Wilmore, the NASA astronaut, as part of the speaking lineup. That captured my attention. I mean, I love Ken Ham too, and the way he brings an incredible presentation, and and the connection too with Ray Comfort and the Living Waters team. That's just brilliant. So those dates quickly once again: Sydney on Friday the 30th of January, Melbourne Saturday the 7th of February, the all-day event in Brisbane on the 14th of February, and then on the Sunshine Coast, I think you said it's like a family conference. 21st of February.
And we actually have a special guest speaker there, Heidi St. John, as well. And she's a best-selling author. She's had 24 million downloads on her podcast. She's even met with Donald Trump. And she has 7 children, and she is king of the homeschooling, or queen of the homeschooling community. And she's just got some incredible insights in how to firmly establish families. So we're bringing her out too. So look, it really is an all-star lineup.
You know, it's a conversation for another day, but I am aware that Answers in Genesis, especially in the United States, and the homeschooling movement in the US is huge. I've been and stood in the warehouse where the Answers in Genesis curriculum is distributed from, and it is absolutely spectacular. My suspicion is that as there's a movement, I mean, Christian schools are bursting at the seams, and the homeschooling movement is growing just substantially at this time because of the way people feel about the schooling movement. So there will be a lot of guest listeners who will be certainly interested in what's happening so far as homeschooling curriculum that comes from Answers in Genesis. Is there any way that if listeners go to the website today, they can find out some more about that? Is that something that's prominent for the Australian audience?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you, again, go to answersingenesis.org, the best way is if you do connect with us through the Join Us, you're going to get, different specials, our homeschooling resources. You're going to get updates on the tour. That's really where we connect with people. So really connecting with us there through the Join Us link is really the best way. And but there's resources. You can just look on that site. There's all kinds of resources. We do produce world-class resources for the homeschooling community. And Ken has a great relationship with the homeschooling community in Australia, has spoken at some of the national conferences. And look, we want to be here as a support to and a service to the homeschooling community in Australia. So we just love what they're doing, and the Christian education that they're bringing to young people is just so powerful and life-changing.
All right. Great insights, and, a little bit privileged that you've made this announcement. This is the first time you've announced this Gospel Reset Tour today on 2020. So for listeners, follow that through. The website is answersingenesis.org. answersingenesis.org. I'd say it won't be too long before there'll be a link there somewhere on the Vision website as well. Mike Foster is Managing Director of Answers in Genesis in Australia. answersingenesis.org, and just a humble privilege to know that Vision is a part of this whole process with the scripture distribution, and there'll be some sort of special partnership alignment too, no doubt, with the Gospel Reset Tour for 2026. Mike Foster, thanks so much for your update with us today on 2020.
Thank you, Neil, and thank you, Vision.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.